think so. I'm going to hit the record button when we count down, right? That's all I got to do.
3, 2, 1, record.
Okay. Wait, was that really it or no?
No. That's
okay.
not the real one.
It sounded like, dang, this guy went quick. I wasn't ready.
Did you want to go?
Hello, my friends.
Thank you for joining us for the PEBCAK Podcast, a weekly information security show featuring some all-around good people. It is week 9 of 2026. I'm Chris Louie, and congratulations to the U.S. men's and women's hockey teams beating Canada both times in overtime to win the gold. With me, we have my co-host, the Cloud God, who is looking extremely tan. Welcome back.
Why am I looking tan? Because I was in Florida?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't spend any time outside, thank God. I was there for a wedding, and I was throwing it back on the dance floor. I'll tell you what. Don't be jealous.
I got watch some videos of those dance moves.
You'll never see it. I've hidden those away. Thank God.
Have you ever heard that there's some life advice that says if you're ever making, let's say, inappropriate videos and you're afraid that it'll ever get posted to the internet, what you do is you overlay Disney music over the video, so anytime it gets posted, Disney will automatically take it down.
So you're just saying that people are out there humping the
That's smart.
Lion King? That's crazy.
Yeah, just saying, Disney's overzealous with those IP lawyers, and that's one way to make sure your stuff gets taken down.
Dude, so the wedding I went to was an actual Disney wedding, like at the resort there. And I was like, are these people getting paid to talk about how magical it is at the Disney resort? Like, throughout this up, not the bride and groom, but like the guy ordaining the wedding, and then like other like the hostess and stuff. I'm like, calm down, we don't have to say it. Like, and then at the very end, this was like sponsored by something. I was like, you got to be kidding me right now.
They had a sponsor for their wedding.
Yeah, I think so, man. It was wild.
This wedding sponsored by Simple Six, the fast food app that lets you lose weight.
By Pfizer. Yeah. Okay.
That's funny. And we do not have Glenn Medina this week, who said he is, quote, too busy to join.
It sounds like Elon Musk to Epstein.
Nice callback there. He is not accused of any wrongdoing whatsoever.
Never.
Glenn or Elon, I should say. Our guest this week is the returning Jason Seaman. Probes are under attack. Thank you for joining us this week. Jason, I know you were quite busy this week too.
I was going to say, I feel like the implication of this is that I am not busy enough and I need more things to do. So this is my foul.
Oh, we had to reschedule it just so we can fit you in.
Very good. I was watching I got that on a YouTube rabbit hole, as one does, and it was these recordings of people buying Disney timeshares. And you're exactly right, because I think most people would say the timeshare, not really a good investment, like pretty well understood. A timeshare is not a sound investment strategy. But I'll tell you what, the Disney people were very proud of their investment, and they had a lot of information to prove that out. So more power to them, I say, but not for me.
Speaking of bad investment vehicles, I think Bitcoin is at an all-time low today, right?
You guys know each other? Or you're just...
Well, close to the all-time
6 months.
low. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's the all-time, but it's it's pretty close to the 52-week low, I should say.
Yeah, 52-week was 60, so yeah, it's at 65,000. But yeah, that's all right. You still have more money than me, so I will continue to judge no matter what.
Okay. That's cool.
Combined, we have decades of information security experience, and are here not just to educate, but to entertain. We got 4 awesome stories for this week, so sit back, relax, and buy Bitcoin. And as the mandatory disclaimer, this is not financial advice. Do your own research. This week, we're going to talk about China running a global surveillance operation. A security vendor gets sued. For our third topic, sanctions hit a hacker and another surveillance vendor, and close with restaurant loyalty talk. For our first topic, a software engineer named Sunny I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, Sammy A, I'll call him, drops $2,000 on a fancy DJI Romo robot vacuum. It is the same DJI that makes those fancy drones that I think Brian owns one of them. But he refuses to use the boring official app like everybody else. Instead, Sammy fires up Claude AI to help him reverse engineer the vacuum's cloud server so he can drive his vacuum around the house with an Xbox controller. Because why not? Why not drive this vacuum around with a controller? Just buy this $2,000 vacuum just to hack it so you can use your Xbox controller to drive it around. Well, in no time, Claude cracks the API, pulls the authentication token that it uses to authenticate with the server, and boom, Sammy's connected, so job well done. But when Sammy checks the scope of the access that he has, well, his stomach drops because that single token just doesn't control his vacuum. It controls nearly 7,000 of these vacuums scattered across 24 countries. So suddenly he's got live camera feed. So this isn't just like LiDAR and IR and bumpers. Like it's a live camera feed, active microphones, detailed floor plans of these strangers' homes, and even their approximate location based on their IP addresses. One feed showed a guy in Germany eating cereal at 3 a.m., which is questionable, obviously. Completely unaware that his robot is live streaming in his kitchen. Now, Sammy could have been the world's most informed burglar with a single API call, but instead he did the right thing, reported responsibly to DJI, and they rolled out a fix in just 2 days. Patching the insane authentication bug that let any valid token holder work on any unit on the planet. Moral of the story, IoT companies are still undefeated at shipping absolute garbage security.
This is insane. I don't know if I'm more surprised that it was a single API token or that DJI only sold 7,000 robot vacuums. I'm a little bit on the fence here.
It's a lot of scratch. I wouldn't buy a $2,000 vacuum.
I guess I missed
What's
that.
your limit on vacuums? I went into about a $600 vacuum. It doesn't have a camera, so I feel like a little bit more safe about its lack of camera abilities.
Like one that like a robot vacuum or like a
robot.
A Dyson.
Yeah. No. It's a robot vacuum. I also have a pretty expensive real vacuum. I'm kind of a cleaning person. Like I enjoy making things clean. So yeah, I'm an investor in vacuum technology.
I'm going to skeeve you out the next time I see you. I'm like, here, hold my Kleenex.
He's a 5% shareholder in Shark Ninja.
There's a little controversy, Chris, by the way, in the stories that you sent over. One of the articles says it was actually a PlayStation 5 controller, and you said Xbox controller.
Oh, boom, roasted.
Yeah. So I don't know which one I'm hoping it's a PlayStation controller. Personally, I'm on Team PlayStation. Is there anyone left on Team Xbox?
No, I think you're right. This one article here, TechSpot says it was PS5, so you might be right. I don't know where I pulled the Xbox from.
I love that you just
the X.
clapped him like that. Get your life together, Chris.
X.
You freaking drunk.
Yeah. I mean, your first mistake was trusting X, so that should have been your first clue.
Yeah, so someone posted a summary on X, and they did it, did it 4chan green text style, and that's where I pulled Xbox from. But the TechSpot says PS5.
That's right. I just one more thing on this though, because I've been personally, I'm sure you guys have done plenty of AI episodes, but I've been playing with that 5.3 codex, the ChatGPT stuff, and I started vibe coding for the first time, and it was cool, man. Like I wrote a Roblox game. I don't know how to write a Roblox game. I wrote a website, so I'm thinking of this world where you say this guy's kind of a nerd or whatever for building his own app to try to control robot vacuums, and maybe that's true, but I'm picturing a world where we all of our phones are just all our own custom apps, because you just tell it how you want it to be, and you're not locked into this ecosystem anymore.
The vendor, yeah.
Do you do any vibe coding, Chris? Do you do this kind of stuff?
I actually did. I vibe coded my first app. We had a Chinese New Year event at HQ at the office, and we had a physical fortune teller. It's not like a person fortune teller, but in Asian cultures, you have a cup and there's chopsticks in the cup, and you shake the cup until one chopstick falls out. That chopstick is a number, and that corresponds to your fortune. So if I have chopstick 23, it says you'll have long life this year, or chopstick 16 says go buy a lottery ticket today, something like that. And then one of my colleagues says, hey, we should just write an app for this next year, then we don't have to deal with little slips of paper and everything. I'm like, that's a good idea. So I went to I tried Grok and I tried Gemini, and hands down Gemini was better at programming. I programmed it in Swift because I'm a Mac user. And plugged the prompt into Gemini. It spit out the code like brilliantly. It like gave me a little animated cup that shakes. It showed chopsticks. It even does like text to voice as well. So that was pretty cool. I did that in, I don't know, like one evening, just prompting Gemini.
Do you have one of those chopsticks says that your life sucks, give up?
I was thinking of doing like an Easter egg, because it's an RNG, right? So give me a number between 1 and 40. And I said on every like, there's like a 1 in 1,000 chance that you get a chopstick that says like, oh, you better write your will because things aren't looking good.
I love that we think the same on this.
It's a little Easter egg.
I think AI companies got in trouble for that. Yeah, you can't have one that says like kill yourself. That'll get you straight to jail.
That's why you don't explicitly say you give hints to it.
Going back to this story though, I would love to know how much, like, for the camera, like you see a guy eating cereal at 3:00 in the morning. Is this like a fisheye lens, or was the guy just like laying on the floor, with his feet in the air, just like sitting like that,
in front of the vacuum, like having a date with the vacuum.
Yeah.
Could be both, by the way. Could be on the floor with the fisheye.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm a Jason on this one though. So we have a decently priced robot vacuum. It has LiDAR, it has the bumpers, but no camera, no microphone. Like that's one of the things I'll draw the line in the sand. I don't want that in the house, but I can see why you might want it, because I've seen enough Roomba fail videos on the internet. Like let's say a pet defecates on the floor and then the Roomba just like smears it all over the floor, and I've seen and heard horror stories of that. So I'm like, that's a potential use case for a camera, because if the camera sees that there's this brown stuff getting spread everywhere, like just stop what you're doing, or bring out the mop attachment or something. But if it's just like dumb with just a LiDAR, it won't bump into things, but it won't know if it's spearing feces all over the floor.
I have a joke about that in my Art of the Possibles when I'm talking with customers about the Roomba running over a pile of dog crap. And that's not just like because I saw it online. That actually happened. And it's happened more than once. The second time I actually got high centered on it. It's like, I don't know what the poor dog ate that day, but it was not moving. So I just came home and it was just like perched up on the thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Luckily it didn't get everywhere, but I ended up throwing it away because it was just spinning. It was like a truck stuck in mud. It was gross.
Dude, your dog's getting a lot of fiber, man. That's probably good.
Yeah. Well, that's so weird. Is like they're trained not to do it, and like everyone in the house knows if it's raining outside, the dogs are gonna in the house. Sorry, Chris. And every single time, it's just make sure that like we hang out with the dogs, and if they're like if you're gonna go upstairs, then lock them up so they don't do it. And every single time they just forget, and there's this steaming pile of crap just sitting right there. I'm like, guys, get your life together. I don't know why they do it. Only when it's raining, they just decide that it's too wet outside, so I better just poop in the house.
Yeah, and that's where I could see like vibe coding an app where you would need open API access, because you could write a script that says, my vacuums every day at 2 p.m. and then you have the API call to plug into the weather app and says, unless it's raining, then don't automatically vacuum. Because
exactly.
The native Roomba app, I'm sure can't do that, so you need API access to vibe code your own app like that.
Yeah, customize it, man. That's what's cool. And eventually, maybe it'll just be like it notices that you had to throw one of your Roombas in the garbage, so then it automatically codes that exception for you because it saw you bought another robot vacuum. So what's this doing? Hey, you mind if I ask you what happened? Yeah.
See, that's where
for the.
I was gonna say that's where like OpenClaw might come in, where you could command OpenClaw instead of using the Roomba app. Tell OpenClaw, say vacuum my house every day at 2 p.m. but check the weather. If it's raining, then don't send it out, and then just control through OpenClaw.
Did you see? By the way, not to get too deep on it, but they came out with Perplexity come out with one called Computer yesterday. That's something like maybe a slightly better version of OpenClaw. I'm excited for the commercialization of OpenClaw. I'm too afraid of it like in its current state, but I love the idea of it.
Yeah, the Wild West version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what would be fun is to like hack the Roombas that if it sees like dog feces, then like it just puts like a ransomware note on the floor smeared. Like that. Yeah, think outside the box. But Jason, going back to your point, yeah, I'm hopelessly optimistic for the commercial versions of this, because as it stands right now, I think Chris sent over something like somebody like sent over 4 Bitcoin or something like that. Solana,
There's these trolls that like just prompt these OpenClaw, because if OpenClaw they post random stuff on X or WhatsApp, and then this scammer replied, "Hey, I need 4 Solana. My dad's really sick, and I need to pay for his operation." It was something along those lines, and the bot responded to him, was like, "Okay, here's 4 Solana," but it accidentally sent the entire contents of the wallet, which is about $250,000 to this guy, and he within like 11 minutes, the scammer cashed it out, so that money's gone.
Well, silver lining. Now it's only about $150,000. So it's getting better every day for him.
So something a fool and his money are soon parted. Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, like I'm actually. It's one of those like I'm shocked, but not shocked, because DJI, one of the biggest, largest drone manufacturers. You would think they're not some startup. They should have some decent hardware security people. Yet they used a single API key for every single person. And not only that this guy was able to reverse engineer the API key from their code. Like, it wasn't like secured by a private key or anything. Surprised but not surprised. Internet of crap. For our second topic, speaking of the internet of crap, security vendor SonicWall is being sued by one of their customers' marquee software solutions for gross negligence and misrepresentation that allegedly led to a ransomware attack which disrupted the operations at 74 U.S. banks. Back in August, hackers breached Marquee's network in a ransomware attack after compromising their SonicWall firewall. Everybody thought that this was, they attacked some, unpatched vulnerability, but a few months ago, or actually last month in January, Marquee officially accused SonicWall of security failures after they determined, and I'm guessing the IR report finally came out, after they determined hackers had not exploited an unpatched flaw in its firewall as they previously assumed. Instead, it was discovered that the attacker leveraged configuration data extracted from SonicWall's cloud backups. I don't think we covered this story, but a few months ago, SonicWall firewalls, they have this feature that says you can back up your configs up to their cloud, make it easy. So if I have 20 branch offices, they can all just download that backup and have all the settings at all those offices. It's a service they offer, but SonicWall themselves got compromised through their own SonicWall devices, and hackers stole all those backup files. Marquee states that at the time of the attack, their SonicWall firewall was up to date, MFA was enabled, and additional security controls were in place. No details on what those are, but the threat actor still compromised it using information exposed in the SonicWall cloud backup breach. When contacted directly by Marquee about the MFA bypass, SonicWall allegedly withheld critical information and ignored the request. So my question is, who should be liable here? Because there's a lot of fail to go around here.
Everyone, including Epstein.
All right, let's go.
I have a question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
Your daughter, graduated college, comes home, and her future husband comes in. You have to pick one. He's either a SonicWall SE or a Microsoft SE. Which one do you? What is the tale of two stories here?
It depends. If it's Microsoft Teams, then that's an easy option. But if it's Microsoft proper, then that might be a little then that would tilt the favor in Microsoft, I would say.
I feel like it's like choosing between cancer and AIDS. So good luck with that one.
Yeah, gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. So, Jason, you were saying before I so rudely interrupted.
No, just to get back to the story, Brian.
Yeah. Always.
we got to stay on topic here, okay? I know that's important. No, I was just like, this one's a little murky. At face value, it seems like you couldn't possibly have a security industry business if you could get sued every time you had a defect in your software that someone exploited. Like, there would be no business. So it can't be that case. But there seemed to be some stuff, Chris, at the end that you were talking about where, like, maybe it went beyond just having a bug. Maybe it went like so far into the realm of wrongness that a lawsuit is merited. And so I was curious from your guys' perspective, like even setting aside this one, like what would be an example of something where you'd say like, yeah, actually that company did go too far in their negligence and they should be able to be sued for, having a breach.
May I agree with you? Like, it's impossible. We talked about it all the time here. It's impossible to write perfect software. There's got to be bugs. That's why we have defense in depth. That's why we have layered controls. That's why we have proper network segmentation. And I think that's the argument here. I would make that it's a little bit of both. That first of all, SonicWall should not have leaked the backups. That was bad on them. But did they give proper guidance? Like, did they say everybody rotate your API tokens, everybody re-roll your MFA, suspend all admin accounts? Like, did they give proper guidance to avoid having that information being used to compromise them? And then, on the flip side, this marquee company, they should also have segmented their network properly, such that even if someone comes in through the VPN, like, they should not be able to do this much damage, which I think they said disrupted operations at 74 U.S. banks. I think they're like an MSSP for them, or some kind of SaaS vendor for them. Like, it shouldn't be. They shouldn't have that much power just from like one set of compromised credentials.
They can do better. Let's leave it at that. I'm with Jason. Like, you can't just sue everyone just to be sue happy, but I think that, yeah, they could have done better here.
Well, this one too, if I followed it right, Chris, because I just had something like this happen to me recently. So what I had happen was I got a notice that my social security number and my name and all that stuff had been compromised. And I got it from a company that I had no relationship with. It turns out this company is a marketing company for one of my healthcare providers. So they had gotten my info and then they had subsequently fumbled the ball and let it out there.
Of course
And
they did.
in this case, I was like, in order of people that I'm most upset with, like, I'm kind of upset with my healthcare company for sharing my information with this like marketing company who kind of fumbled. And I think that's the same thing that this Marquise company is, right? It's not the actual bank. It's some like adjacent provider, right?
Yeah, and I think it's part of the, like, when we go through RFPs, like, we get really lengthy RFPs of how do you control this? What's the worst case scenario of that? How do people have access to production server? Like, we fill out like extensive security questionnaires, and same with our vendors, I'm sure. Like, when we onboard vendors that help us, I'm sure we make them go through a lot of security questionnaires too. And that's not something that I could see that would have been caught at this point, because if this company onboarded SonicWall as their firewall, I'm sure they went through the security diligence, and it's just unfortunately they got popped with their own software. SonicWall is not perfect software, and the company themselves got hacked with their own software. I mean, there is that duty to secure your data and make sure the vendors that you share that data with secure your data. And I think that your healthcare provider can and should be held liable for not picking a good vendor. But I don't know. That's for the courts to decide.
Yeah, I agree. But that's kind of where I can see the logic flowing, right? Like, if I get mad at my healthcare provider for making this bad vendor sourcing decision, then like, there's some logic that says, well, I should be able to be mad at my firewall provider for, having flaws because they're a step removed from me. But we're all sort of interconnected in a weird way, which, makes it hard to disentangle all this stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Dude, your healthcare provider is absolute idiots. Why would they share your social security number with marketing? That's like your name and address. I get it. Maybe the year you were born, but your social security number. And shoot, I just realized we both have the same healthcare provider.
Wait for your letter in the mail. Hey, they do give you 12 free months of credit monitoring, Brian, so look forward to that.
Thank God. Can I just use that with the other 12 months ago with the other thing that happened?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They stack, so you're going to get covered for 2 full years before
like lifetime
you get some marketing
based on all the breaches that keep happening.
We should just start a credit monitoring company. We would get rich.
Yeah. have everyone buy it every time that there's a hack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll use Claude and then undercut all the other credit monitoring companies and do it for pennies on the dollar.
We'll do 80% of the service at 90% off the cost.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah, the other thing I would say here is for this marquee that they on the lines of like things like network segmentation, and we pitch zero trust all the time. That what we always pitch is you can't stop a motivated actor from getting into your network. What you can control is the blast radius. How do you limit that? And I think that's also why Marquee might be a little bit liable here as well. Yes, Sonic Wall should have leaked their credentials, but their Marquee's network should not have been in such a state that one compromised firewall can take down their entire operation. Like that there's a little bit of side aid. I think there could be like a partial, like they're partially liable and they're only liable for a certain percentage of it, and that's for a judge and jury to decide. But I think there's enough blame to go around here.
Agreed.
For our third topic, we have a pair of stories here as a follow-up to a story we did a few months ago about an L3 Harris Trenchant executive who stole exploits from his employer L3 Harris. That these exploits were developed solely for the use of the U.S. federal government and our friendly allies. This executive stole them and sold them to a Russian exploit broker for pennies on the dollar. The vendor, Trenchant, said these exploits should have been worth something like $35 million. This guy sold it for about $1.3 million to this Russian broker. Peter Williams was finally sentenced. He's going to serve 87 months in prison, plus he has to forfeit that $1.3 million that he made, various cryptocurrencies, a house, and other luxury goods. And I think that last part there, his other luxury goods, might undermine his argument a little bit, because his argument was that he's a father, he's a family man, he had to support his family, so he saw these exploits, couldn't resist, stole them, sold them for money to support his family. But if he's out there buying luxury goods, I think that undermines that just a little bit, that he was just greedy. At the same time, the U.S. sanctioned a Russian exploit broker and its founder for buying the stolen 0 days, so both on the supply side and the demand side. And OFAC also sanctioned the same owner's UAE-based front company, Special Technology Services, LLC.
Look at the Russian guy's got a great discount, man. It was like a fire sale over there.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like one of those, if they agreed on such a low price, because it was at a substantial discount, so I'm sure this Peter Williams guy didn't want to leave money on the table, but it might have also been the case where it's like, hey, take it or leave it.
Let's see. Let's do the math. 1.3 million divided by 87 months. Was it worth it? He made about $15,000 a month. Does he get to keep the money? Probably not.
No. He had to forfeit it plus cryptocurrency, a house, and other luxury goods.
Yeah. Bad math. But the risk was not worth the reward in this one, guys.
Yeah. And to Jason's point earlier, he got 1.3 million in crypto when the price was probably higher, so he probably owes more now if he sold the crypto. He's got to pay out of his own pocket.
Yeah, I liked this story. My thing was good. No, it's like, I'm glad bad things happen to bad people. That's good. I couldn't help but notice yet again, this sale was facilitated by cryptocurrency. So it would have been interesting in the absence of cryptocurrency how exactly you move $2 million around through the U.S. banking system and so forth. I think it would have been a good deal harder.
FedEx a pallet of cash to him.
Yeah.
Are you anti-crypto, Jason?
Oh, very much, yeah. I see no societal benefit to crypto. I just see it wasting a bunch of power, and it's a speculation engine. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you guys do you. Like, it's fine, but, like, I see no benefit to it.
I actually like your view on it. Go on. No societal benefit? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Okay.
Just a waste of power?
If you want to derail this podcast just slightly, I'll just give you a point of view for a minute, which is
go for it.
I just don't see as a currency, which is something I'm supposed to be able to exchange for goods and services. We're 15 years into the cryptocurrency experiment, and I can buy virtually nothing with it. All I can do is trade it in for US dollars or euros or something that I can actually transact business with. So in my point of view, it's not fulfilling any function in the world other than providing a place where people can speculate and gamble. And, oh, by the way, transfer money in a pretty surreptitious manner. I think if you look at the goods and services that are actually exchanged with crypto, 95+% of it you would find to be human trafficking, drug trafficking, ransomware. I think that alone, like the preponderance of the evidence of what crypto is used for, sort of proved my point. Case closed.
So I would. I'm not defending
Repeat this, Chris.
I'm not repeating.
Come on, stand on human trafficking, Chris. Go for it. Defend this.
That's a soapbox I'm going to die on. It's human trafficking. Well, I would say the argument that there's zero utility is more of a function of the banking lobby, at least here in the U.S. So the banking lobby, I think, and the credit card lobby is way too strong here. That's why we can't get meaningful legislation passed. We got the Genius Act passed finally, but I think like if you look at El Salvador, they are the first ones to switch to crypto, and from all things, it sounds like it's going well. I don't keep up with exactly how things are going. Their country didn't fall apart after they switched to, like, you can pay your electric bill with crypto, you can pay your DMV registration with crypto, and things seem to be going okay. But at least here in the U.S., like, as part of the Genius Act that passed here was this part to legitimize these stable coins, like USD Circle and USD Tether. So it's one token equals $1. It never changes. And I will say that, I had a friend in another country that wanted to pay me for something, and he sent USDC. So he bought in his local currency. I received it in my local currency. I could exchange in and out. No foreign transaction fees, no middleman, no Western Union fees. So there's, certain utility in that. And back to my earlier point that the banking lobbying is way too strong here. As part of the Genius Act to get it passed, states that had large banking presence, won't name them, they would not agree to pass the Genius Act unless they removed this provision that says you cannot earn interest on stablecoins. Like, it'd be nice to be able to earn, 4% deposit my stablecoins, and it'd be equivalent to a bank. I earn 4% on my savings account. I earn 4% on my USD Circle. But as part of this wheeling and dealing in Washington, the banking industry said, nope, you cannot earn interest on stablecoins, and that's where we are. But we're a step in the right direction, I would say. But the lobbying effort, I would say, is holding us back.
Yeah, look at Chris flexing on me. Like, I don't even have friends in my own city. He's got friends in other countries. Good for you, man.
You know him. He's in our group chat.
Well, I'm glad to hear you found one of the 5% of valid use cases for crypto. Like, that's good. It's on audio, so like if anyone's looking at your wallet, those are all like clean transactions. Okay, just ignore the fact it's money going to Bangkok and whatever. Like, that's all just a friend in a different country. Yeah, buying something legitimate.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting experiment. It's gotten a little bit out of control with the whole speculation and the MicroStrategy and the hedging and the hedging of the hedging and the synthetic contracts. We're sort of getting back to the what do they call it? It wasn't mortgage-backed security. Synthetic CDOs, I think, was what tanked our economy in 2008. Like, we're getting to that point. I think that contributed to the crypto winter we're having right now. But once people get their footing and realize that there is some legitimacy to this and utility to it, I think it'll stabilize.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see indeed.
Wow, it's like dad to sit mom at the dinner table. I have to keep eating my spaghetti. All right, next topic.
What's the next topic?
All right, well, since Brian said dinner table for our last topic, it'll be a rotating topic every week. This week we're going to talk about restaurant loyalty. I found this clip online through my X feed doom scrolling, and there's something called the You Gotta Try This podcast. There's a show called Bar Rescue, and John Taffer breaks down how he turned restaurant marketing into a precise and low cost science. And it started to get me thinking, because like us as a family, we like to eat out at restaurants. We like to try new places. We're loyal to certain places. We're not loyal to other places. And this guy, John Taffer, lays out some of the ways that restaurants get you to become loyal. So instead of blowing thousands of dollars on ads that can cost quite a bit to land a single new customer, and that's going to be called the customer acquisition cost. Is common industry term. What's your customer acquisition cost? It cost me $800 to get a new customer. Brian should know I think his daughter does like Instagram ads, so she knows that to get a new customer, you have to spend X amount of dollars on ads. So the way that the John pitches it, the first time a guest comes to the restaurant, they ask, is this your first time here? If you say yes, they put a red cocktail napkin on your table. Therefore, everybody, like all the servers, all the managers, everyone knows that this is your first time here. So the manager must come by, they introduce themselves and hands over a postcard or a little business card that says, if you enjoyed your meal here, why don't you come back? We'll give you a free dinner, free entree next time you come back here, no strings attached. On the second visit, the manager shows up with a handwritten coupon that says, like, come back if you like the ribs. Why don't you try the chicken? And he hands you a handwritten coupon for $5 off the chicken. He comes back the third time and says, here, why don't you come back here? I'll give you a free slice of cheesecake on your next visit. So building that loyalty, and the science part of it is, John Taffer says, if you go to a restaurant, you have a flawless experience, everything goes well, you have about a 34% chance of coming back a second time. If you come back a second time, you have about a 37% chance of coming back a third time. Once you get that third visit, though, the chances of you coming back go up dramatically. It's about 72% that you'll come back that third time. So that's why he tries to get you in the restaurant at least 3 times. So they said, basically, for the cost of a couple meals, couple of coupons, you can build loyalty for a customer basically for life instead of spending thousands of dollars on marketing. So I think that when I was thinking of my experience on restaurants, I would say that 34, 37, 72 rule is pretty true. Like, we've tried lots of places first times, not a ton of them convert to second visits. So I just want to see, I know Brian's been on the road quite a bit, and see if that was his experience too, based on all the places you visited. Like, would you ever go back to, whether the odds that you would go back to, certain places?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm traveling for work and eating, like I try to go places that I've never been to before, but hands down, there's certain restaurants that if I ever go back to that city again and I'm there for my own vacation or my own personal gain, then I would probably go stop in there again just to check it out. They didn't give me a red napkin.
Would you say it's like a third of net new restaurants you visit? Is it about a third that you say, yes, I'm definitely coming back here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, something has to go probably even higher than a third. Something has to be really bad for me not to consider going back again. Because I am a kind of a creature of routine or habit. Like, I just kind of drink the exact same thing, eat the exact same thing, regardless of the restaurant. There has to be something about the experience where I don't like it. Oh, I know what it is. If there's live music, I am never going back again. I just cannot deal with live music.
I think it's a certain preference. Yeah, Jason seemed to jump at that. Are you a live music person, Jason?
Well, not necessarily. It was just such a shocking statement, Brian. Maybe you'd like to defend that a little bit. Is it you can't hear, or is it that you don't like musicians in general? What would you say it is?
So no, I like musicians, but the challenge I have is anytime it's live music, if I am sitting, let's say 3 feet, that's generous, right? Even 4 feet away, and I can't hear you. If we can't carry a conversation, then you've ruined my date night. Like, I can't do anything about this. Yeah. It makes me not want to go there. So there's certain restaurants where I'll call ahead. I'm like, do you guys have live music? Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm not coming there. Yeah, only on Fridays and Saturdays. Cool. I'll be there Thursday night. So
that's okay. So as a fellow old man, I can actually agree with you. Like, the acoustics of a restaurant actually might be more important to me than the food quality itself, because like you, I like to be able to have a conversation. And if you've got a restaurant that's like that sort of concrete and metal like aesthetic, where like everything just rackets, like that drives me up a wall. It's just not peaceful to eat there. I don't care how good the food is.
I hate low ceilings because it echoes. And I would say, I think acoustics matter. For me, I guess the X factor, more important to me than the food, is the hospitality. And I will put up with mediocre food. If the hospitality is amazing, I will put up with mediocre food. But if it's like amazing food and the service sucks, like I'm in that 67% that I will not come back. Like I think Brian can attest to this. There are a few things in this world that really, really upset me, and it's poor service from service workers that really upsets me, because essentially it's like you are paid to do one thing, which is give me a good dining experience. And if you can't even do that, like a minimum requirement of your job is to remove dirty dishes from my table. A minimum requirement of your job is if you see my water glass empty, that you just come over and fill it up. I should not have to ask for why. I'm not some snob that talks down to service people either, but it's basic. Like you go out to eat, your water glass is empty, like it should get filled.
Oh, let me tell you something about service on that note. So my son works at a restaurant, and he's like a food runner, but he does get an employee discount. And there's this one guy, as soon as he sees me, like if he's waiting on me, worst service ever. He knows that I'm not there to drink. I'm going to grab some food, in and out. And I remind him every single time, like, hey, my son works here. And like it's entitled to like some crazy discount, right? Mm-hmm. What this guy doesn't understand is like whatever money I would have saved, I always give to the server. So he's just cheating himself out of like a huge tip. So, instead of getting like $70, he gets like 20 or something crazy like that. So I was like, you need to tell Paul, like he's screwing himself over by doing that. So he got like, we go back in there, whole family, he's waiting on us. And just to be petty, I tipped him on the discounted bill instead of the full one. And I kept the money for myself. F you, dude. Like, yeah. So yeah, if he does better next time, then I'll give him the whole thing. But I was just like, so annoying. I'm just, I don't really need the money, but I'd rather just give it to the servers, because I feel like if the server gets tipped out well, then they're going to take care of my son, right? And so
yes, for sure,
do the right thing. But that day I did not. It was like holding the door open for a pretty girl. I'm like, not going to happen.
That's funny. There's speaking of experiences, actually we went to a really interesting food experience last night. I was at the Joseph Hotel in Columbus, which, by the way, #1 hotel in Ohio, so pretty cool.
Right.
But this dining experience is called Le Petit Chef. It's actually going to travel around the country, so you can look for it in your area whenever it comes through. Basically, what they do is they put projectors over each of your tables, and it kind of projects like a movie onto the table, and the movie is like the chef, like making like a little baby chef, like having whimsical adventures and throwing food on your plate.
Just like
and the idea is like, yeah. So he's like making your food digitally in front of you, and then just as he finishes the recipe, they come out with the actual plate and like slide the food like right in front of you. So it was a really cool experience, and like the food was all great.
Dinner
and I'd never seen something like that. And exactly, dinner and a show. That's what my wife said. She said this was very low pressure, like dinner and a show. And they even had like an MC there who would come out and like tell little jokes after each section or whatever. And I'll share my dad joke of the week now because I'm required to.
Dad joke of the week.
So in the fourth course was like a Wagyu strip on there. And the MC comes out and he explains that, I was looking for a good steak joke, but I just haven't found one yet because they're so rare. And I said, well, that's a proper dad joke right there.
That's a proper one, for sure.
Nice.
So anyways, look up Le Petit Chef. It's probably coming to an area near you. It's pretty innovative. I thought it was fun.
That's cool. Yeah. Is it like a kid-friendly environment? Because I could see that being interesting for the kids, because that's one of the struggles we have is how do you entertain the kids while we're waiting for food, how impatient they are. Especially my son. Like, he grew up in the COVID area. Everything was always take away, take home. And now he gets really impatient whenever he has to wait for food.
Oh yeah, there was a 7-year-old right next to me, so she was having a great time watching all that stuff.
Nice.
Hey, there's one in Phoenix. Let's go check this out. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, look for another podcast sponsor now.
There you go.
Yeah, and I would say that's one of the things that I value. So Brian values, well, actually both of you value good acoustics. I value hospitality, and it's something that I actively will notice. Like, I'll actively notice if they're clearing away the dishes. Like, there's one restaurant we go to, like, I take my last bite, I put the fork down, and someone swoops in and takes my dish like right away, like eagle eye. Like they're looking out for that. And then there's some that play the dirty dishes sit there, and even the next course comes like, oh, where do I put this down? You still have dirty dishes in front of you. Like there's some clear miscommunication there on doing that, and again, very little things, subtle things. Like if they come around, if you've seen those breadcrumb scrapers, they scrape all the crumbs off the table. Like that's a gigantic plus in my mind, that they care enough about crumbs on your table that it's one of those things. Like if they have enough time and attention to detail to that, like I'm sure everything behind the scenes is like pristine if the front looks like this. Because the opposite is also true. Like if you let the front end of the restaurant look this way, like I can't imagine what it looks like in the back. That you're supposed to present your best self in the front, and if it looks this bad, then what's going on in the back?
It's a good call out.
All right. So last week we did a cybersecurity interview question with Glenn and the guests. We have a little bit of time here left, so I'm going to do one bonus interview question, because going back to the roots of this podcast, in our podcast description, it actually does talk about like cybersecurity interview tips, and I think now we've only done it twice, so I thought it'd be fun to just throw in this one interview question here. So you're interviewing for a cybersecurity job. I'm the interviewer, and I say, tell me about a cyber attack you've encountered and how you managed it. So this could be in your personal, as going through it, or this could be from the perspective of one of your clients and how you helped them through it.
That's a terrifying question, to be honest. It's funny, when you said this, it reminded me of, I think maybe the first time I was on this podcast, we talked about ways in which we've been personally hacked. And I shared a story of basically getting my wife's blog compromised because I didn't read through the phishing attack email.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid this question would expose me as a network person who is learning security, rather than a bona fide security person. Because, like, to me, it's hard to, how can I say? Like, it's hard to imagine the complexity of what goes on. Like, I've developed a lot of sympathy for the people that live on the security side of the house that I didn't used to have, basically.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to know what good looks like. Like, I know what a good network looks like. I can give you proof that the network is running good. Security is so weird in the sense that, like, I guess everything's okay, right? I guess everything's fine because the house isn't on fire. And then suddenly the house is on fire and you have no idea where to look and no idea what to do. So I guess in the absence of a specific example, what I would say is one of the things I've gained a lot of religion on in my, cybersecurity journey is I really feel like this honeypot technology, deception technology is so important, because to me, it is a crystal clear, high fidelity signal that something is going wrong within your environment and you need to start looking, and it's gonna trip before the world is on fire. So I've gained a lot of personal conviction about this being a technology that I think everyone ought to have deployed and monitored in a very effective manner.
Yeah, I would argue low effort too. Like, it's a VM.
Yeah.
It's completely independent of your infrastructure. I personally had a customer, they got compromised, and that's the very first thing we said. Hey, you're entitled to 300 honeypots. Like, let's just deploy these out there, make them look like Hadoop, make them look like WordPress, make them look like this, make them look like that. And we found some pretty interesting things. But again, this was after the fact. They should have done this before the fact. But nothing gets a project in motion quite like getting hacked.
I was talking to a customer who they're looking at mergers and acquisitions use cases, and that's another very frightening scenario when you actually put your security hat on and think about it, right? Like, I'm taking over this third party that I really have no point of view on their security or not. And we were talking about the technological ways that someone could connect this merger and acquisition, this acquired company, into the mothership in a safe way, zero trust principles and all that.
Yep.
And what I pointed out, though, was that, hey, when you do that, also put a few honeypots in there and let those be open. And that's going to give you a very nice signal of if someone's trying to hop across the wire, so to speak, from this new acquisition.
Yeah.
And they really seem to appreciate that idea, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got, Brian?
I don't have one. Can't think of anything right now.
Not at when you worked at University of Phoenix or U.S. Airways. Nothing. I guess those were, you told like misconfiguration stories. I don't know if you ever talked about any compromises.
Never a compromise. Always it's some type of childish insider that is taking advantage of stuff. A lot of DDoS attacks, but yeah, nothing. No actual threat actor and problems with eviction. No hostage stuff.
DDoS is. How do you manage the DDoS attack? That's a cyber attack.
That was when I was on the F5 side, and what was crazy about that is it was like a hotel chain got hit with it. But before that, it was like a lower education, and then I'm trying to remember, it was like an NTP amplification attack, and what you could actually see is as you went back in time over the course of like 2 weeks, is that it started off small, and they would like take out little things, and then they hit this hotel. They hit ASU, and then the big one was not a customer, but they hosted adult content is the only way I can describe it. And so the guy over there, the only reason I even found out, because I thought they were just like a hosting provider, but he reached out to me and it was just like, hey, we use Arbor, blah blah blah, but this was a huge attack. And I was like, well, send me a PCAP of like the attacks that can kind of, let you know if it's something that we could have helped solve. And then that's when it was like, it became apparent that it was an NTP reflection attack. But in there was like the most vile URLs you can even imagine. I was like, what is this website?
So like that scene from Silicon Valley where they're like panning table to table of what adult website they're at.
Yeah, like it was like just some of the things like that was like in the URI. And I was like, what the heck is this? But yeah, like that, I was like, wow, I didn't know that's like, I think you guys did like Minecraft servers. I didn't know it was that. I was like, no, this is where the bread and butter is at, baby. So
like we do that, but this pays.
But yeah, anyway, so as they took a step back for whatever reason, like they started small, like smaller businesses and stuff, and they moved all the way up. And at the time, it wasn't that big. It was like maybe a 20 gig attack, and their Arbor boxes could only do 20 gig. And then that's where we were like trying to offer scrubbing cloud, that, being the first stop, be able to absorb it. Even if you only have a 20 gig internet circuit, we could, take in a terabyte worth of traffic and all that good
and
stuff.
Then you only pass through the legitimate traffic.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You want to know, Chris? Sorry, I just was going to say I actually came up with a cyber incident. It finally hit me. I don't think I've told this story before.
All right, go for it.
Our cybersecurity strategy in the year of, this would have been 2002 approximately. This is the years of the worms. Like worm was a big dangerous thing out on the internet.
Morse.
And my job as a network person was, in the event we got hit by a worm, which we did, our office building was 14 stories high. And our strategy was you would run to each network closet and you would unplug that network switch from the rest of the network and you would go floor by floor. And our subsequent security optimization was to write a script that would telnet to each one of these network switches and shut the port until such time as you would walk back with a console and turn it back on. So that's my security strategy circa 2002.
There you go. Work smarter, not harder.
That's right.
Deploy a script instead of running up and down the stairs.
Yep.
All right, do you have another dad joke, or did you deliver yours prematurely?
Well put. Yes.
Right. Fair enough. You still came with the dad joke. You did what was required.
Mm-hmm.
All right, to wrap things up, an ethical hacker found the largest Chinese vacuum surveillance network. Should security vendors be liable for their own security flaws? The U.S. sentenced an L3Harris executive and sanctioned an exploit broker. And always ask for free stuff if it's your first time eating at a new restaurant. That's all I have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Find us all on LinkedIn. Links will be in the description. Follow us on Instagram at PEBCAK Podcast. Thank you, our listeners and subscribers who raised 5 stars in the iTunes Store and Spotify and left us a review. We appreciate you all spreading the word to help grow the show. Best way to find us is a search for the PEBCAK Podcast in your favorite podcast listening app. My co-host Brian Deach and our guest Jason Seaman. I'm Chris Louie. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week, and as always, have a nice day.
Bye, Felicia.
Have a nice day.